tell you a quick overview of like why we started this, who I am, and then we'll get started. And because this is a webinar, we also get to ask questions and answer your questions. So as you hear us talking, feel free to put some questions in the chat box, and then I'll ask them of Ericka as we're talking. So my name is Teri Gioma, and I'm the founder of Invest with Teri. I'm a full-time trader. I day trade and swing trade. And yes, this market has been coming down lately, but it has still been good for me because we know how to make money when the market goes up and down. And I have a course called Trade and Travel, and that's why we actually started Trade and Travel. Ericka always be getting my name wrong. Can I get her to say it right just one good time? One good time. But the course is called Trade and Travel. And we actually have a goal this year to help 1,000 students make $1,000 a day. And we realized that if we reach our goal, that's $1 million a day that our community can be generating. And then we were like, oh my gosh, what kind of impact could we have if we are generating $1 million a day? So like all this funding for coronavirus, we could do that. We've generated $1 million a day. We could do clean water. We can help women. We can do mental health, just all these things. And we can have such a big impact if we're able to reach our goals. And then we said, well, wait, can people even imagine what it's like to have $1 million? And so we said, we've got to show people more entrepreneurs, people of color, women that are doing this thing, that are making $1 million, so that you all can see what it's like and start aspiring to it. So that is why we started this Power of 1 Million webinar. And that is why we are welcoming the beautiful Ericka Williams today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm gonna let her introduce herself, but she's a millionaire in a couple different rights because she has reached $1 million in terms of earning $1 million. She's also raised $1 million for different real estate investments and trucking investments. And then she also has had over 1 million YouTube views. So like she has so much.
3 million YouTube views.
All right, fine. Let me not get her numbers wrong. So she just is going to be such a wealth of knowledge today. So welcome, Ericka.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me come on. What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Ericka, from the Classy Climb blog. Yes, we still blog over here. What started all this is I had a business in North Carolina and I closed it and I flipped a coin. I was going to go to Nashville or I was going to go to Austin, and coin hit Austin. So I got down here and I've just been documenting the journey of growing. And once you own a business, it's hard to go back to 9-to-5 work because then you question everything and everybody's like, why are you questioning it? Just do how we want you to do it. And just documenting this journey of YouTube, and I did over 6,000 paid phone consultations. Man, just a really big leap year last year, and that people saw a lot of the marketing. So thank you for letting me come on today.
Of course. Now tell me this, what mindset did you have to shift in order to reach 1 million?
So the shift happens in belief, like believing in yourself, because you can go to events, you can go to conferences, you can go to parties, and you'll see people on stage talking and you'll be like, man, that's so great for them. But then if you don't believe you can do it, that's the real truth of it, right? Because it all starts here. It's all in the self-talk. A lot of times I hear people say things about, girl, I've always been fat, or I've always been this, or I'm like, stop talking to yourself like that. There's a great book called The Power of Your Unsubconscious Mind. I recommend everybody get it. It's a little bit old at this point, but if you get it on Audible, powerful.
Wait, okay, now tell us a little bit about, so what were you saying to yourself before versus like what are you saying to yourself now?
I was saying I'm unlucky. Oh man, I'm so unlucky. Like there was a point in time where my grandmother and my father died 6 months of each other. And I was like, man, I'm unlucky, then, other things were happening to me. Same thing when I was here in Texas. I had a surgery, emergency surprise surgery for my appendix coming out when I first moved here. And then another surgery happened when I was here. And I think some other people saw me in their eyes as unlucky, but I always was like, at that point, I was like, you're not unlucky. Everything's happening for a reason. There's a great sermon this guy had, and it was talking about Moses, how if you look at Moses when he was in the desert, he named his children like foreigner. like has no home. Like if you look at the translation of his children's name, it was very sad. It was like he feels he has no home, he has no identity. And I always want people to understand that, like, another big book that helped me with my mindset was Rooted. A pastor wrote it, and it was called The Places Where God Grows You. And it's like, wherever you are, root, grow, build a community. Because especially here in Austin, Texas, everybody's like, well, I'm gonna move to Nashville, I'm gonna move over here. And they're just moving around, but they're never growing as a person. And that was kind of like, I was always like, oh man, I'm unlucky, or I never get, another thing I used to say, I never get the guy I want, or I never get the job I want. And I had to stop saying that, because you're telling your mind and your body something, right? And this one guy broke up with me and he married this other girl. And I was like, so sad. I'm like, but he wasn't meant for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant for me. That's just what it was. And I think there's so much power in your mind and what you say to yourself. Life and death is in the power of the tongue kind of conversation.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, goodness. That's what I was thinking. As you were talking, I was like, man, our words and our tongue have so much power. Life and death is definitely in the power of the tongue. So tell us, so I know your story, but not everybody on here knows your story. Can you tell us, like, how did you get to where you are right now? Let's get into that.
Okay, so I'll make it short as possible. Basically, a military kid. Mom did 26 years, traveled a bunch, lived in Alaska. My brother lived in Germany. We lived in several different cities and states. Had a blast as a kid. When I was leaving college, my grandma and my father died. I took some of that money and used it to open a coffee shop in North Carolina, and it stayed open for 2 years. But the state decided to spend all this lovely grant money, which, hey, thanks for the grant money, but they tore up the whole road. So me and 4 other businesses in that plaza went under because the students couldn't safely walk across the street and buy our products and services. So at that point, I was like, I need to leave. I knew I needed growth in a way that city could no longer give me, right? I was on community boards. I was with United Way, multicultural leadership board, so I could be on any board I wanted to. There was an opening for me to work with a city council member. It was a lot of stuff there. But I knew in my soul, like, I don't even know how to explain to you, like, I needed to pick up and leave because I was always over helping my family, overextending myself, helping my sister with her kids. Like, I stayed home every day for the first year of one of my nephew's life and helped babysit him. Like, just because I had the freedom, between my job, between basically my business and like my family, who are like investors. There are a lot of military police officers who just take their excess money and buy cheap houses. And so I would tell people that, and they would be like, what? Your family buys cheap houses? And you're like, yeah. And that's why I was never stressing too hard for money, because I knew I could always have somewhere to stay, or I knew a connection somewhere in Fayetteville that I could go work or do. And I was like, you can't grow like this. You just can't grow, because there's nothing pushing you. It's like, you can always go stay at your uncle's house, or you can ask for one of your family's rental properties. You can always go work at one of your family members' jobs or something to that effect.
Go ahead. And then I was going to say, and then once you decided, okay, I can't be here anymore, and you finally left, then what happened? Where'd you go?
I went to Texas. I went to Killeen, Texas. The funny thing is, when you grow up as a military kid, all military towns run the same, act the same. And when you get an adult, it's like all the same people from high school, but now adults. And I knew I couldn't stay there long. So I was only there for 6 months, and I went on into Austin. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I knew it was Lord driven, right? I know people are gonna be like, oh, she gets preachy today. But I drove on every Sunday looking for a church to go to. And somehow, if everybody knows where my church is, it's hard to get to from the road. Like, we've complained about it all the time. Like, you have to take the feeder road, turn, and like pay attention. And somehow I ended up there that day, and they were having barbecue out in the parking lot after service. I go in, I'm just by myself, and this old couple said, come over, honey, come sit with us. So I go sit with them. Literally maybe 3 or 4 Sundays later, people were offering me jobs, 70K jobs, a year jobs. And then also I joined the singles group. The singles group had like 200 young people, 25 to, I'd say 45 max, right? And we would go two-stepping every Friday. We'd go tubing down the river every Saturday. Every Sunday we'd go to church and then do something after church, like dinner together, for 4 months all summer. I mean, it was like immediate community that was amazing at the time.
And so I guess like one of the things that I heard you say, and I wanted to just really dive in. You said I had to leave. There was nothing else for me here, and then your testimony of when you got to Austin, like you were looking for churches, and the only way you knew where you were supposed to be planted was because they invited you in, and that's where you found community. And like now, looking at where your life is, like looking at your $1 million year last year and your leap year, and it's just amazing to me like what God has done for you in that place. And I think there's some people on here, and like God may have been pushing you to do something different, but you've been afraid to leave. And I know I've been in that position. Like for me, like God told me, I want you to leave your job and go travel around the world. And for me, I was leaving a secure job in a school. But I was so afraid, but I knew, like you said, it was a soul thing. It's just a God thing that I was supposed to do this. Yeah. And so now you've made that leap. Can you tell us, because it sounds like you do want to have a little preaching day today. So can you tell us what God has done for you now that you made that leap?
Well, here's the thing. What happens is when you actually step foot forward and leave something, like the opportunity to go back closes. And that's why I want to be very clear. The reason I knew it was time for me to go is when I was like, well, I could stay. So everything I called around community college to work where my aunt works, and she couldn't get me the position. I called over here to go do this, and somebody just moved into one of my uncle's rental property. I called over here to do this other job, and they were like, oh, we just gave it to somebody else. Everything was telling me to, it's okay, it's time to go. No, there's no back door, there's no second option. Leave. So even here, when I was in Killeen, the opportunity came for me to go to Austin, and the door that was in Killeen immediately closed. Immediately, like the people I was staying with, they got stationed somewhere else. The job I had they were giving it to somebody else. I was like, whoa. So even here, when I'm here, every time I've tried to move back to somewhere else, or I'm like, well, I'm gonna go back to North Carolina, no door opened. Every door stayed closed. And I don't just mean a job, I mean housing, I mean everything. Like the situations I thought I was gonna step into, and every time I go back home, I'm like, this isn't my home. And when I mean home, I mean North Carolina, where my family lives. When I go there, I'm like, this isn't my city. This isn't my home. I just know in my soul when I'm there, this is my home.
And how do you deal with all those doors closing? Because I feel like sometimes people look at folks that have done well and they assume that the road has been easy. Like, how have you dealt with that?
You know, the craziest thing here is my friends, when I was like struggling, there was a 2-year period where like I was having cars like break down, had to buy another car. I had lost an apartment. I mean, I was moving, I was switching jobs. They were like, man, just take this 70K a year job over here at Dale. My friend's gonna give you this job. And this is a little bit further into right before my leap year, the year before leap year. I would say even a little bit a year before that, somebody had offered me the 70K a year job. And the job was basically a social coordinator at Dale. And I was like, great, I get paid 70K a year to plan parties and happy hours. Great. The door was like closing. Like the girl was like, well, I can't guarantee it. And then I looked up and I made $50,000 that month from consulting calls, YouTube, everything. And it was like, that's your sign. You almost made what you were going to make in a whole year at this job in 1 month. And it was like, leave that alone. And when I called her back, she's like, yeah, they picked somebody else outside of me, my authority. So they had hired somebody and she didn't even know by the time she was getting ready to offer it to me. So again, I'm a big gut check person. I'm a big instinct person. If something's about to go wrong or something's about to happen, I'm like, pay attention. That's a sign. Like let it go. Whatever it is you're trying to hold on to, it's a sign.
What would you tell people on here that are going through a tough time, trying to either like build a business, trying to, make their life better, but right now they're going through a tough time?
I would definitely say something that really encourages me every time I sit down with a piece of paper, pen and paper. I sit down with you and I go, where do we want to be 5 years from now? Okay, and then I work it backwards. Where do we want to be a year from now? Okay, where do we want to be 6 months from now? And when you look at it in that time span, 5 years is like, I mean, and I know people think 5 years is a long time, Ericka. It really isn't. Every time you talk to somebody who's ever been in the military or college, man, those years go by fast. 4 year, they really do. And what happens is we're in a moment, in a season where it sucks. And we're like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. But if you actually just sit down and write on a piece of paper, what was our original goal? Right? And some people tell me, well, I don't have no plan. Well, that's why you're here. Like that's you'll keep being here in this stuck moment until you come up with a plan or have a trajectory of where you're trying to go.
That's powerful. You will keep being in this stuck moment until you come up with a plan.
Yeah, because most people are just floating through life. They're kind of floating through life. They're not pinpointing anything. They're like, things are good. Okay, cool. You know, they want an easy life, which that's just natural human instinct, right? We want things to be easier, not hard.
Wow. Y'all put in there, I got a plan, or I'm gonna get a plan if you don't have a plan into the chat, just so if you co-sign with what she just said. And then Ericka, somebody asked in the comments, they said, what is your business? So will you tell them a little bit more about what you do?
Ooh, which one? Okay, so I got a couple businesses. So if you ever come to the office, you'll see Grandview Acquisitions. That is the semi-truck transportation company. I used to have a painting company. I sold that with a friend. If you ever look up my YouTube, it's under SW Investments. And SW Investments essentially is just the umbrella holding the YouTube channel, the money I make from AdSense, the money I make from consulting calls, the money I make from speaking gigs, the money I make from my book sales, the money I make from my courses. It's just the umbrella hub.
Now,
like when I say I'm a YouTuber, I'm like a YouTube business. Like it's a business.
She is, y'all. She got a course on it and everything. She is a businesswoman with the YouTube. Now, tell us this, Ericka. So we've had a couple people in the Power of 1 Million say that you should just have one thing. And then for you, you have multiple things. So like, what would you say in terms of having, like, how do you manage your multiple businesses?
So the funny thing is, I am a big believer in you can only do 2 businesses right. Everything else, you're kind of like you're there, you're invested, but you're not running them. Just even no one's Elon Musk is something I've been telling a lot of people. Now, when people see me, they're like, "Man, you do so much." I'm like, "No. I hyper focus for 90 days on one thing at a time." What ends up happening is people they see from an outside, but they don't understand. So this is how I'll help you. There's a book from Robert Kiyosaki called Cash Flow Quadrant. Everybody's like, Rich Dad Poor Dad. No. Rich Dad Poor Dad's for mindset for sure, but Cash Flow Quadrant will really help you. When I read it, I was like, oh, perfect. Because some people are security, right? My parents, my family, military, police officers. I have an aunt who worked on Fort Bragg as a dental hygienist for 30 years. They're all about security, getting a paycheck, taking that very paycheck, put it in a house. Well, a house is always secure because it's a brick house. You can't go nowhere. And that was their whole mindset. So everything advice they will ever give you in life will be from a place of security. Okay. So small business owners, I have 2 cousins who are small business owners. Every advice they'll have for you is from a place of small business, almost like I can do it better than anybody else kind of mindset. So I'm going to do it myself. I realized I was all the way on the other end. I was an investor. All these things are like little Legos or something. I'm going to use these for example, right? So here's the lipstick and here's this. This is a house. This is a truck. I'm just adding up lipsticks and chapsticks. I don't look at these things as like, oh my gosh, this thing is so overwhelming. I almost look at it like paper. I look at it like a Lego. I look at it like it's just something you're adding to your portfolio. And what ends up happening is people, they get over emotionally invested in the items, right? Like I've always heard people say, well, I can't have no real estate out of state here. I need to be able to drive by and see it. See, then it's not for you, right? Because then you're going to be that kind of landlord, like they parked on the grass. How dare them? You're going to be overly attached to it. Now, is there wins in doubling down in one thing? Of course. There's a lot of traction, but we're all just built differently. For me, I'm an investor. So at the end of the day, I have a number in my head, what I want to receive monthly, what cash flow I want to receive daily, what cash flow I want to move around. And so, for me, okay, this gives me 15%, great. This gives me this, great. I hyper focus on one thing at a time. I know it seems like I do a lot, but a lot of stuff I've had has been on autopilot since 2015.
Right? I love that. I actually really love that. And I think sometimes we don't hear that enough. It's not that she's doing everything all at one time. She hyper focuses for 90 days on one thing and gets that all complete. And then she can hyper focus on something else. And that's super important. Like, I think that's powerful, Ericka. I've never heard it said like that.
You have to. You can't like, there's no, like, it's like having a computer open with 10 tabs open. You can't do that. You're not even multitasking. You're fragmented. This allows me to go, right? And I won't start any other projects unless I have staff. Point blank period at this point. Everybody I've learned from, I know my strengths and my weaknesses. There's a thing called SWOT, and that's SWOT. It's strengths, weaknesses,
opportunities, and threats.
Okay, so I would recommend everybody write one of these up today, because I remember sitting in a group in a class with somebody, and it was a married couple, and they literally put on their paper, threat is outside people, outside accidents. What they meant, cheating, right? Like, and I was like, okay now it's about business now. What y'all talking about? But what you have to understand is my strengths. I just did a video on my YouTube channel, marketing, video, very friendly, very personable person. I can come up with an ideal, but if you want me to sit here and do paperwork, I'd rather cry. I mean, like I'm not an admin person whatsoever. Like, I have no desire. Like, I have an accounting team, I have staff. I have no desire to do any of that stuff. And I would call it daily operations versus the marketing side. Daily operations is, to give you kind of a funny, I was making fun of in the video, Mike Bloomberg is daily operations. He's dry, he's everyday boring, wet blanket, wants to know every day what's the admin stuff, what's the ins and outs, what's the balance and sheets. And then you got Donald Trump, who's marketing, right? He's Twitter, he's doing everything, he's laughing, he's making jokes, he's being a chatty patty, he's being, a people person to the people who like him. Stop it.
Okay. Question. Yep. Somebody said, what was it? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. So for them. And then, okay, so backing up a little bit, we're not going to go deep on politics, but I did want to say, so I know that you have different views than other people. How are you okay with being different? What allows you to be?
So here's the thing, where I'm from, my whole family's different. We have cops, and we're military folks. We're very security oriented, law and order folks. We are Captain America, brown Captain Americas, I think that there's been a member of my family serve in every single war, even including the Civil War. We have it documented. Like, we're very law and order. That's the best way I'm gonna say that. But I remember being in high school and I wore cowboy boots to school, and my sister was so mortified. Like, she's wearing the boots to school, like that's what the country people do, right? And I remember being in the school book with my cowboy boots because it was like, nice boots, right? So how do I thrive in that? Being yourself is the joy. It's the light. Do you know how many people right now, Teri, are somewhere drinking, smoking, and dressing the way they're dressing because they feel they have to? They keep their group of friends. How sad is that, right? Like, you only get one go around this earth, and you're out here living in a way that is so unpleasing to your life. No, I can't do that. And so for me, what I've noticed too is I watch Star Wars. I'm a big sci-fi person. So Star Wars was like, how does the dark Vader and how does the Empire get you? They get you to think you're alone. You're never alone. Whether you want to put it biblically, you're never alone, but also in this life, you're never alone. There's a million Erickas in cowboy boots out there. There's a million black girls at the country music concerts. There's a million whatever, right? And the more I travel and the more I see, the more I meet people who align with me, right? Yeah. And I remember this guy posting on Twitter. He was like, I started following all these black wealthy people, but they were all conservatives. And I just joked. I said, hey, take notes, right? Like, you just never know. That's not to be political or make people, send me hate email, but there's plenty of people like you out there. Never think you're alone. You're just in the wrong room.
Right, exactly. That's the key. If you feel like you're alone, you got to go find your people. And whether that's going on internet or going to conferences, I know you'll be a big advocate of going to conferences, but you just got to go find your people because there's.
Till he moved to a new school, This guy was 6'4" and beautiful, hazel eyes, straight teeth, and he said he always felt stringly, and ugly. Like what do you call a string bean man? The word I'm looking for. And I was like, that's the power of being in the wrong room. You will think you're ugly. You will think you're unattractive. Listen, I make a joke when I'm here in Austin. Austin's a little pale here and there, depending on what side of town you're on. We got a lot of diversity in certain parts of town. I go to Houston every day. We're like, hey girl, hey girl, hey girl, And so it's like you could just be in the wrong room. You could just be in the wrong city.
You could be in the wrong country. I went to South Africa. I saw somebody on the mural that looked just like me, had my cheeks and everything. I said, "Oh, she cute." I just was in the wrong. I was in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Yes. And Kelvin said on here, "Can you name the books again?" Where
Which ones?
I know, right?
Rich Dad Poor Dad. Not Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant. The Power of Your Unsubconscious Mind.
Rooted.
It literally says it's got a root on the front of the cover. Rooted, and I forgot. You guys got to write them down when I say them because I forget.
Right, and there will be a replay. So after this, you can also hear the replay. It's sent out through email, so that'll be great. So okay, now let's shift gears a little bit. So I want to talk about your success. So how did you feel when you finally hit 1 million?
Girl, listen, I'm not joking. When you ever see those commercials where they're like, I was homeless, sleeping on my friend's couch, and now I'm a millionaire, I would be like, that's such crap. And now I'm like, oh wait, that's been my life, right? Like, and I lost my apartment. I stayed with some friends on their couch just for a little bit till I switched to another place, and now I'm a millionaire. But it's a consistent journey, and like when you get there, you're like, oh, I'm here. That's crazy. And you have to kind of like keep your mind on lifestyle creep. Because I mean, if I told people how much I spent on travel last year, they'd be like, but that's just, it is what it is. So.
Yeah. How do you balance investing in yourself versus not spending too much? Because I know sometimes like you have to invest in yourself in order to get to these places. So you have to start spending money. And yeah, talk a little bit about that. Cause I know you're kind of
my family was so mad because I was talking on somebody. I just let it out that I spent $75,000 last year investing in myself. Now people go like, Ericka, that's crazy. But here's the flip side. Right now I'm sitting on a $3 million land deal here in Texas. I'm sitting on another $1 million deal for something else. And I'm sitting on a $6 million deal right now. I can't give every detail and all those things, but that $75,000 and that travel and those conferences and those consulting, like literally every day I'm in like consulting meetings and group coaching, like it opened the door to this $10 million I'm gonna make this year. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it wasn't, I'm gonna read 2 books and then I'm gonna make $1 million. No, that's not. It's levels to this, because what you'll realize along the way is you are the bottleneck to your business. Every time you are the bottleneck. By the time you grow, you're the bottleneck, and you try to grow, you're like, oh my God, I was the bottleneck all back here. Like every time.
Can I get some people in the chat? If you felt like that resonated with you, like you can actually admit, you're right, Ericka, I was the bottleneck to my business. The reason why I wasn't becoming successful or growing or scaling was because I was the bottleneck. Can anybody in there admit that? And I can definitely admit that. There's been times where I definitely was the thing in my way, even in terms of letting go of control. Because when you actually bring a team on, you have to let them do some things. And my team will tell you the truth. Like Teri still wanted to, read every email and check every message.
You're not gonna post no pictures of Teri without Teri seeing them.
Now that is true. That is so true, and it still is the facts. But but like sometimes we can be the bottleneck. And even with investing, I've had some people come and say, oh, Teri, I want to take your course. I want to quit my job. They have all these big dreams. I want to, make $1 million. I want to make $1,000 a day. But, I'm not willing to put $2,000 into your course. And my head is like, so you want to get to this $100,000 level, but you're not even willing to invest $2,000 into yourself?
Honey.
Like that kind of mindset will not get you far. You've got to change that.
And part of what you're seeing here in our society is so many people who, well, it's been working all right for me, and or they don't grow because they go, well, my sister's doing this. Instead of looking out here at all these successful people and saying, in comparison, look at all these other successful people. We like to look down, unfortunately. Like, well, I poke on Asia. Asia be watching 600 Pound Life. She's like, at least weigh 600 pounds, girl. I'm like, that is not the goal, Teri. I'd be like, Asia, look over here. Like, pick something to aspire to, or it's just natural. It's everyday life. People do that, but I'm glad a lot of y'all are saying the bottleneck. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to admit that too. I feel like it's really freeing when you actually identify that you're the thing holding yourself back, then you're able to actually start making moves and moving forward. Because if you are continually wondering, kind of like you said, Ericka, oh, I'm so unlucky. What's wrong? Why are things not going my way? Sometimes it's because you are. Like you are the thing in your way. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Now,
I got a lot of questions in here. We're not gonna hit them all, but somebody said, "What's the ratio to like spending money versus investing in yourself?" Kind of thing. Really, you have to determine what you need in your business, because what ends up happening is you'll get to a point where I'm stuck. Like, I'm stuck and I don't know how to grow. Like, it happened with me with YouTube. It happened with me with various points in my business, like consulting calls. Like, okay, I can't do this many a week. I'm done. And so every step of the way, I learned, okay, there's something I don't know, and I need to go to the next level. So I would keep hitting my head. I'm like, okay, something I don't know, next level. And what ended up happening is I took one course that was $7,000, and being in that group literally put $200,000 in business funding in my pocket. So can I complain about $7,000 and I got 200,000? No. Another group I was in, I paid $7,000 to be in. From that group, I ended up getting capital partner that brought in about $100,000. And then I also got a VA. I got two of the three VAs from that group. And also the guy who helped me set up so many processes in my businesses. But when people sit here and go, well, what's the ratio? Really, you have to determine where you're at in your business, because you're the bottleneck. And if you don't have systems where you can be replaced, then you really just created a job for yourself.
tell them more about systems, because you actually taught me some things about having systems.
So every day I get up on Asana, and even right now, some of my staff will be like, "But you don't finish your work." Asana is a great app where you can assign each other work to do and tasks. And so what I do is I dip in where I go, "What are we trying to accomplish this week?" Right? And honestly, everybody in here should be able to do this. This is an easy, quick assignment for yourself. Take out a sheet of paper, and when you get up every day for your business, what do? Now we're going to do it as boring as possible. 1, I turn on the computer. 2, I check my email. 3, I return phone calls. 4, I check this daily sales. 5, I do this, right? And that's just something you have to do for yourself, because everybody's business is different. But once you do that, you can delegate. Once you say, okay, well, I don't need to look at that every day. I can get somebody to write me a report. I don't need to do this every day. This is a time suck. Like right now, I told them, I think in the Truck and Hustle video podcast, I said, I've got 25,000 unanswered comments on YouTube. Do you think I have time to go through all those comments?
No.
And that's why, at some point here, the girl's going to go through and she's going to, hey, thanks for watching the channel. Like, they're very bland responses, but for ones that are more personal or need attention, hey, you should go here for this consulting course, or consulting call, or you should go to this course. You can't touch everything. There isn't a way for you to make $1 million and touch everything. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're selling hair gel, let's just even get it. You selling $20 bottles of hair gel. At some point, you're going to need somebody else to help you package and distribute them. Like, there's no business I particularly know that you're going to be hands-on 100%. Even consulting. When people get to $1 million consulting, usually they get into group coaching.
Yeah.
And so you're in a group coaching call. You're still not one-on-one with all these people. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make mathematical sense.
I heard somebody tell me, he was like, I bet you couldn't even tell someone how to take the trash out. And I was like, what do you mean? I can definitely tell somebody how to take the trash out. And he was like, no, I want you to write down every single thing that it takes to tell somebody else how to take the trash out. And he said, like, and so I did the exercise, and then we came back, and he's like, But here's the thing, like you miss some things. You just say, oh, okay, I want you to go over here and take the trash out. But you didn't say, okay, look underneath the sink and get the bag. This is the bag that you need. Go and check these different bathrooms to pull out the trash. Now I want you to go to this hallway. You know, like there's so many little steps that we forget when we're trying to actually put out a process. And so like that's what makes us fail, because we assume the other person already knows all the steps it takes. So then we just say, okay, you know, do this, but we don't realize that there's so many steps. And when we can actually write out each of those steps, that's when we can become a good boss and start delegating, like you said. That's important.
Because we do so many little things throughout the day, we don't even realize we do it. Like you really have to reward yourself.
Yeah, especially when you get to like you and I both have businesses, and like you on YouTube, like you were telling me the other day, like when you do your YouTube stuff, you've just done it so many times that you don't realize all the things that you do.
Yeah, I used to drive Kendra and them crazy. I'd be there setting something up and they'd be like, why are you setting this up? Why isn't a VA setting this up? I'm like, it's so easy. You can do it in 5 minutes. What are you doing? And so you realize you're the bottleneck in your business.
Yep, exactly. All right, guys. Now I'm going to come and look at your questions.
I saw one from Jolie. I'm going to try to answer. How to establish yourself locally with the right organizations in a new city. You're in a new city, you don't know, right? So I would say write down what are your passions and what are you trying to do. Now, I'm just using something simple. If you say, hey, Ericka, I want to be a big real estate person in this city. Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is go on Eventbrite. Look for events related to real estate that are free or cost a little bit. Go to those. Then if you tell me, okay, I did that, then I'm gonna tell you go to your RIA groups. And what ends up happening is people go, well, Ericka, I'm busy. I got kids, or I got a TV show I want to watch. This is your life. You decide how much time you want to, invest in your community. But that's what ends up happening. A lot of people move to new cities and they never get invested in the city. So then they're like, well, I wish I could go back home or whatever. So you have to determine what are your goals. Again, we get back to that one sheet of paper. Where do you want to be in 5 years? There's several people I know who got married because they met at a volunteer function and they just had the same mindset, right? And he was kind of wealthy, she was kind of wealthy, but they were always on the careful of letting people in because they were wealthy. Part of when I went to do the United Way Multicultural Leadership Group, most people don't think about getting on boards. They don't get to think about getting on, things behind the scenes. But because I was a part of the program, and it was literally 12 weeks, no, it was 9 weeks of Wednesdays. We had to go and learn how to be on boards on Wednesdays, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And I would talk to people about it. They'd be like, oh, 9 weeks. Oh man, that's a long time. You want to be on a board that impacts the city, the whole city, and you can't do 9 weeks? There's no way you're going to be on a board. There's no way you're going to be on a nonprofit board. There's no way. If you can't sacrifice 9 weeks in a row, that it's not for you, right? And so what it's taught me is if you're looking for the right organizations, the first thing is to start with you. What are you looking for?
And you know what? I think sometimes people don't understand how to prioritize. I think somehow their first reaction all the time is that I don't have time. So I
got kids, Ericka, you don't understand. I don't got time. You look at kids for 2 hours and then the rest of the time they watching TV and in the bed. Stop it, girl. Don't do me like that.
Right. Oh, I don't have time to take a course, but you drive an hour a day to get to where you're going. That's an hour that you could have been using to listen to something. I think it's really about prioritizing how you're going to make it happen and then just doing it. But that's a mindset thing. Now, tell me this. I have another question, then I'll look at the questions from the chat. What do you wish you had known when you started out?
That people are selfish, but that's a good thing.
Tell me more.
Oh, it's annoying.
Here, I'll go on mute.
Yeah, your other mic picked up. That's what that noise is. Your other mic picked up. People are selfish, but that's a good thing. When people are very them focused, how does this get money in my pocket? How does this help me? How does this do for me? Me. And you can use that to your advantage. It's, it's the art of warfare. It's like, well, you get this, and I'm not saying for people exactly, but like you get this course or you do this, it'll be for you, right? People are very them focused, and that's okay, because if you look at the hierarchy of needs, most people start off here surviving, and survival puts us in a selfish mindset. There's all kind of books you can read on this. When people feel like they're not thriving but just surviving, they get into this like me, I need stuff for me mindset. But when you get to the next level, okay, now that's when people start going open into like love and marriage and kids, and they got a little bit more money, they can spread it around. But as they go up the ladder, away from the survival mode, you meet wealthy people who just toss money all day. I mean, I'm not even joking. I know a guy who literally, somebody called him for a charity and was like, can you donate to 2 or 3 of the boys for this charity? He paid for 20 kids to go on a vacation. Because it's not the money, it's what it can do. It's just a tool. But when you're on the bottom, just surviving, like, I just got enough to pay rent, I just got enough to get food and gas and get right to work and get right back home, you can't think outside of you. There's no space in your heart or mind. There's a book called The Working Poor and Nickel and Dime. Really great books. If you read them, those people work hard as all get out. They work really hard. But because they're on that lower level of surviving, they can't think like, well, I'm tired of doing this. This is backbreaking. I got to do something different. Because every day is just that. Every day is just scarcity mentality. There you go, Annette. Yeah, scarcity mentality. You can't break out of it. So that's one thing I learned. That's number one. People are selfish, and that's okay. Number 2 is you will have to take a break, plan a break, or your body will plan a break for you. Let me say that again. You have to plan and take breaks, or your body will plan it for you. And you're gonna mute yourself if you need to.
Amen.
You do. You just do. Like, I've had 2 surprise surgeries, but when I talked to my doctor after, he's like, your stress level and what you're trying to do is too high. Stop. Like, take a break, or your body will take a break for you.
What do you do? What do you do for self-care? For
self-care, I weekly get massages. I go to the yoga class called Woke Yoga. It has R&B music. I try to go, like, there's a couple different things. I do cryotherapy. I also, like, when people come in here, you'll laugh. I play jazz music during the workday because I'm like, oh, I hate admin stuff. But to unhate it, I love jazz. Like, I love background music, just playing softly, and I'll do that. So
I love that. Trinae says she gets her house cleaned as part of self-care. I agree.
Listen, it is. So house clean is self-care. Listen, my family comes over to clean my house, or I had this lady I paid to clean my house. I came home, I was like, fabuloso. Oh my gosh, so much fabuloso.
I'm just excited it's clean right now so I can come visit you.
I didn't put the sheets back on the bed. They just sit on top of the bed. I'm like, she could have put those back after she washed them. Anyway.
What, another question, and then I'll go back over to this one, but what do you think about when you're alone in your car?
Oh man, when I'm alone in my car, I'm usually either listening to motivational stuff or I'm like singing songs, like 1980s songs. I am not driving is like nothing to me. And I think it's because I work from home. So a lot, like, I'll be in traffic, like, why the traffic backed up? They'd be like, Ericka, it's 3:30. I'm like, oh yeah. But for me, it's just having the freedom to get to point A to point B is life changing. There was a time when I didn't have a car. There was a time when I had to rent cars. So I love being in my car. I love getting on the road and going wherever I want to go. I'll be zooming up there to Dallas to see Teri, zoom on to San Antonio, go on to Houston. It ain't nothing but a thing for me. Uh-oh, you're muted. Nothing. There you go. We hear you.
Okay. What makes you feel inspired or your best self?
What makes me feel inspired? My best self is when I work on trainer. Like I be kicking butt and he'd be surprised. He'd be like, okay, look at you. Right? Because I was doing this workout the other day, and before I could not even pull myself up. And he was like, stop, look what you're doing. I was like, oh yeah. pull myself up. That's crazy. With these little straps, weird straps, or whatever. Then what inspires me is a lot of times I'll be like frustrated sometimes with YouTube because there's so much negative out there and you have to fight against that. I'll get a lot of messages from people, emails like, thank you for this. And even when I did the boat party last year, like everybody stood up and gave me like amazing testimonies that were just so thoughtful. Because sometimes you're out here, you're like, am I doing this? Is this making an impact? Is this changing anybody's life? And it's pretty cool.
Now, Judy says, I'm a realtor and this is super competitive industry. How do I differentiate myself from the rest?
I would say what's going to differentiate you, you can host events or you can knock doors. Now, people be like, knock doors? It sounds so weird, but in neighborhoods that have a lot of transition, depending on the area, like there's an area in Austin, like you literally could knock doors, talk to people, and they're like, oh yeah, my friend down here want to sell a house, or this person want to sell a house. There's literally a guy in Austin became a multimillionaire. Right now, his newest company is called Gold Inc. I have to double check, but he was Gold Washingtonburg, whatever company, before him and his wife got a divorce. And he literally, that's what he did for 6 weeks. He knocked doors. He's like, hey, I'm really selling a lot in this particular area. I just sold a house around the corner, blah, 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 blah. Now, a lot of people are like, I'm not going to knock doors, Ericka. I'm beyond that. Well, again, are you beyond it? It just depends on where you're at in your marketing, but I would really hammer down on a particular side of town and just be the most popular realtor in that side of town. Just point blank period. Because even here in Austin, there's people who they are the particular realtor for 45th to 55th Street. And you'd be thinking, well, that's not a lot, but it is. Like in Austin, the density of like apartment and housing and condos is so dense in those areas, they'll make money all year long. I know a guy right now, he does just apartment leasing in San Marcos. Now, what's in San Marcos? 2 colleges. So all the leases get leased up around June or July, and you're just competing for a huge transition of people coming in. So you just have to really dominate a particular area of town is what I've noticed. It makes those realtors stand out. Like there's a black cowboy here in Texas, and he has these giant billboards with his cowboy hat and his happy face and his mustache. And he's like, I'm your ranch realtor for da, 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 da. You have to find something for your city that makes sense.
I think it's about knowing your niche. So I'm a managing broker here in Texas. And I think no matter what business it is, it's about knowing your niche and then really doubling down. So for me, for a while, I would help teachers relocate. So every summer I was in education. I had access to teachers. So that's what I did. And I really focused on that. I knew the schools. I knew what was close to each school. So if the teacher was coming to town, they said, oh, I'm going to be working at Pinkston. I'm like, oh, these 3 apartment complexes are close to you. This neighborhood is close to you. This one is in your budget. They will give you a discount for being a teacher. Like it's really about knowing your niche and then working that niche. Like, because you can't be all over and think you're gonna be like amazing. Just double down, like build a niche. And then Hazel says, how do you get more followers and increase your email list?
You have to offer something of value. And a lot of times people think, well, I'm so awesome, people should sign up. No. You have to offer something of value. And the biggest thing I say is a PDF. If you could come up with 10 questions and you create solutions for those 10 questions and put it in a PDF, boom, it's a giveable. Who's your niche? Who you're trying to target? See, a lot of times, again, this goes back to who are you talking to? Write down who you're talking to. Like I thought, and people in my YouTube class know this. I am hard on them for this. What are your analytics saying? Because I always thought I was talking to other 20-somethings and da da da. No, I was talking to 35 to 54. I was always talking to people. That's the number one group that's bought stuff, came to my boat parties, came to my events, came to my classes. Because 35 to 54 is when you're like, hey, I want to start investing in things. Hey, I might want to retire. Hey, I need to do something, right? And so you really got to know who your target audience is and who are you talking to.
Yep. And then someone said, any advice for finding your niche? Star, I think it starts with you. Figure out who do you actually want to be surrounded by, because when you're building your business, you're going to have to talk to those people all the time.
All the time.
And if you don't like those people, then that's not the niche for you. So figure out like what is it that I know really well? Who are the people I actually want to talk to? And then just go for those people. So like for me with investing, I want to teach everybody. I think everybody needs to know the skill set of investing, but I also know that there's a group of us like people of color, women, millennials that we don't have a rich uncle that could show us what to do. So that's a group that I really want to make sure I'm serving. And also, I know the people who've been in jobs and feel stuck and just feel like I go to this job every day. I hate it. Like I can't stand when my boss comes and talks to me, but I have to be here because I have no other option. That's another person that I really feel called to speak to because I want them to know they have options and investing gives them options. You got to just think through who is it that you really want to talk to and then go for those people. Where are they? What Instagram pages are they on? What conferences are they in? Like really go find them.
It's really a research thing. Like when I talk about analytics, like the reason I've made so much money from YouTube with a small audience is I know who I'm talking to, what they want to hear about, and I can tweak it and bring those topics to them. Point blank, period. Another thing what people have a hard time doing is don't do things for the money. I know people are gonna be like, oh, here she go with that mess. I know it's a right rich dad, poor dad. Rich don't work for money. The rich really don't work for money. I can tell you right now, I know 3 or 4 people who became huge in credit repair and were like, I hate credit repair. I'm out. Like, like they literally made their money. And as soon as they made their money, they're like, I don't enjoy this. I don't want to talk to people. I did it for money. I'm out. And so don't do things for money because it will burn you so fast. It'll burn you up because what ends up happening is you're speaking to people who, and this is any category, this isn't just credit repair, I'm just giving an example. A lot of times in credit repair, people are frustrated, they want to buy a car, a house, or something, and they're frustrated. So by the time they come to you, they're frustrated. And so now if your service or product doesn't work immediately, they're frustrated with you. And it's really like, ma'am, your life, your credit repair, your credit's a dumpster fire. There's nothing I could have did any faster, any sooner to make it better. It's just gonna take time, right? And also you start to learn, I'm a creative mind. Most people are a lot of people are fixed minded. That's okay. If I say, hey, you don't need credit, go partner with people, go work for people, go exchange your time for money for whatever project you're working on, people are like, what? No, I don't want to do that. I don't do. And that's when you're fixed on one way only will work. So again, don't do something for money. Do it for something you decently want to do it.
That's good. And I think we actually could end on that one. Don't do anything just for money. Like you got to have bigger impact and bigger goals. And that's when you'll actually become successful, when it's not about you. It's about something bigger than you.
The number one thing I said at my boat party, thank y'all for coming, because it certainly isn't about me. like I'm just a girl on the internet, talking, telling stories and telling the truth. Like, thank you for coming.
Nice. Now, Ericka, how can people find you? Tell them about your courses and where they can find you.
So you guys can find me on the internet. You can go to the blog Classy Climb, classyscl.com. Classy Climb blog. You can also go on YouTube right now and type in Ericka Williams. I will pop up. I'm like the #1 Ericka Williams. And that's Ericka Williams Classy Climb. If you go on Instagram, it's Ericka's Classy Climb. If you go on Twitter, it's Ericka S. Williams. I be on there just cutting up. Don't listen to me on there. But overall, you'll see me on the interwebs. And let's be really honest. We did not touch on something we were supposed to do, Teri. Leap year.
Oh, tell us about it. Go ahead.
No, you tell me. We have 2 different definitions of leap year, so I want Teri to give me hers. Share with hers first.
Okay, so when Ericka told me about a leap year, I was thinking about a year when you take off from work. And I know people in Australia do that. They finish school, take off a year, and then they come back and work. But tell them about your definition, Ericka.
What I heard for hers, yes, that's in Europe. It's very much leap year. United States, a leap year in business is a concept where your business goes from here to here, super, it just leaped. And a lot of times, Gary Vee is like, oh, that's not going to happen for several years, which is true. That's why we make the joke about overnight success. People, oh, you've been, Grant Cardone's like, yeah, I did 30,000 speeches. I'm an overnight success. And a leap year for me is last year, people saw my business skyrocket. They saw me take about 45 first class ticket plane rides all over the United States and go to conferences and speak to people and connect with all these people, and raise $1.4 million is because I had a leap year. And the leap year in business is where everything just collided, right? Where people could Google me, I was researchable, you could find me on Wikipedia, like I'm right here. Anybody who has a problem with me, come find me, come to my office, right? And I just had a leap year in life where you're working, and then all of a sudden, like, you just explodes. And so that's our definitions of leap years. So.
And I'm so proud of you. I was there for every moment watching your leap year. And what I do know is that, like, it wasn't by happenstance. You were working extremely hard, and people didn't see the work that you put in, but you put in a ton of work.
Yeah.
You made sure that you were in different places. Like, your calendar was so crazy. You were in different places every day. But if you really want something, like, that's the kind of effort and energy that you're going to have to put in to make it happen. And you did it. And I'm just so proud of you, Ericka.
You know, and the reason I brought that up towards the end is someone asked me, hey, were you going to do more speaking around the nation and do this? I'm like, no, I got invited to speak 20 places this year. I'm like, I don't have to. like you can choose at this point. Once you have your leap year, you can choose to do whatever you want. And you guys see that in the documentary coming up, and it's a lot of cool, fun stuff coming up soon.
Yeah, you can choose. You really do have. It's like I said, it's about options and choices, but you got to put in the work to get to that level. You can't decide when you're at zero that I want options and choices. No, you got to put in all the work so that when you get to $1 million, then you can have options and choices. But you got to keep pushing yourself to get to that level.
And it's a 2 to 5 year journey. I always tell people, like, if you really research people, it's 2 to 5 years. Now, what do I mean by that? If you go on Dave Ramsey's show, the average person who does their debt-free scream, and they keep track of this, does it in 18 months. Because it's so intense. They're so focused, pushing through to get paid to be debt free, right? No matter the income level or the debt amount, it's on average 18 months. And what I've noticed with business owners is about 2 to 5 years. When I see YouTubers or I see people with these startups, about 2 to 5 years before they just have a leap year. So.
Yeah, that's the same with me. Like, I've been trading for 10 years now. And some people, they come on the scene and they're like, oh, you can jump right in and then in a couple months, you're going to have $1 million. No, like, you put in the work. Like, these things come over time. But then once you actually do become successful, now you got a system. Now you've seen the ups and downs. Now you know how to handle a situation. Like right now with the coronavirus and different things going on.
Girl,
like,
it's so cheap.
For me, right? And I'm like, but I've seen this before. I was around in 2010 after the 2008 crash. I was around in 2018 on December 24th when the market was down 20%. Like, I've seen this before. So it's not new. But some of us, we're not willing to take that longer range to see some things. We quit right after the first difficulty. Yeah. But no, you're right. I'm so proud of you.
Wait.
But yeah.
Can we answer this one person's question, then we'll go? Someone said, do you ever feel like you're putting in all the work, but felt like you're in the same spot? It's so easy to be busy, but not productive. This goes back to systems. This goes back to, I put out my Classy Climb planner this year, and I will talk about it forever. Every morning when I get up, I write 3 micro goals. I write what I'm grateful for and 3 micro goals. And that, if I get those 3 things done, the day is perfect. Anything else after that is icing on the cake. And a lot of you are like, I got all these things I gotta do. I'm so busy. No, you're never getting any traction that way, because, even one day in here, Teri, I had to write down a list of 35 things I needed done. And I just worked the list. And so if you're feeling busy but not productive, you need to go back, look at your systems, and also look at what are you trying to accomplish. It should have a result.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And Atia, I'm gonna answer this one just because I know you a little bit, and I think that some other people may be in your same situation. Also, recognize when you actually are doing well. I think sometimes it's really hard for us to acknowledge that, like, we're actually doing okay. Atia is a wonderful accountant, and Atia, feel free to put your info in the chat box. But like, she's getting speaking gigs, she's blowing up. Like, I'm looking at her and like, you are doing the dang thing. But sometimes as entrepreneurs, we don't feel like we're our biggest enemy, and we don't feel like we're doing enough. So we don't see the progress that's happening. So for all of you guys on this call, like, you are doing the dang thing. Just the fact that you're here, I know that you are on the right track. So sometimes acknowledge what you have done, and then just get as much done as you can each day. Because all you can do is all you can do.
Yep.
So try not to be as hard on yourself too, because you got to learn how to enjoy the journey. Like, if you're not enjoying the journey, then all of this is going to feel so hard and not feel like you're getting anywhere. But that's because you're not enjoying the journey.
For real. For real.
And on that note, I don't want to keep you guys too long. I know your bosses are probably looking for you, but again, this is sponsored by Invest with Teri and the Trade and Travel program. And if you're interested in learning how to invest in the stock market with day and swing trading, also check us out. We're at itradeandtravel.com. And that way you'll learn about how I make $1,000 a day, and you can join the movement to be a part of our 1,000 students making $1,000 a day. And that's itradeandtravel.com.
Tradeandtravel.com.
Oh, you got it right. Yes. All right, guys, please also post your pictures on Instagram. Shout us out. And we just appreciate you guys so much. Talk to you later. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, Teri.
Bye.